Hey, good morning team, it's Gavin here from the Growing Younger program, and today's video is about binge eating or stress eating at night, boredom eating essentially. Now it's quite funny that I kind of get lots of questions in the same sort of vein all at once. So I'm not sure if you guys are all speaking to each other or what, but ultimately the main topic of at night time, stress eating at night time, eating, snacking like 8, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, okay? Big problem, and it absolutely destroys all of your good work throughout the day and through the week, right? Now, speaking from experience, as most of you know, I was very overweight. I'm not anymore. I've had to come up with like these coping strategies over time. And I actually did a course in nutrition psychology, which was pretty cool. And ultimately what it came down to, okay, was all of this stuff is trained habits, okay? It's trained skills that you've built up over time. And ultimately, when you're feeling down, okay, traditionally, our parents, you do it to your children if you've got children, is that you give them something nice to eat, okay? So when you give somebody something nice to eat because they're feeling a little bit down, or a little bit stressed, or a little bit tired, or all those things are, what happens is you're building this sort of, you're building this network in your brain that you associate making yourself feel better by eating something sweet, something tasty, something a little bit naughty, right? So we all do it. We do it to our kids. We go out for a treat, we have an ice cream. We go for a treat, we have some dessert. You have to go for dinner, you have a dessert, you have some wine or whatever it is. But as you get older, you continue with these habits, and you give yourself the reason every single time is that when you've had a tough day at work, sit down and you eat some chocolate to make yourself feel better because you've had a hard day. You think you've earned it. You think you deserved it. But it's ultimately just a habit that you've built over time. Now we as a whole our whole day is filled up by our own habits, everything good or bad, destructive or good, okay? But you've got to rewire yourself to sort of like, have better habits in place. And one of the biggest ones we find, as I just said, was eating at night, sitting down after a long hard day and you're munching on stuff you shouldn't be munching on, right? So a couple of things that I've helped myself deal with this stuff, okay? You got to find something equivalent to what you munch on. So how does that look? If you're somebody like me that likes chocolate at night time, you've got to find something that you enjoy as much as chocolate that isn't chocolate, and it's not going to give you the same sort of extra calories, because this is just a calories game. There's nothing more in it. If you didn't eat those 400 calories of chocolate at night time, or wine, or whatever that is for you, then ultimately that's 400 calories you could be saving to help your weight loss, okay? So for me, what do? I got a sweet tooth. So what helps me is I kind of like popcorn. So you can have a big bowl of sweet popcorn if that's the thing for you, okay? What it does is when you're sitting there bored watching TV, you can just munch indiscriminately. And a big double popcorn might only be 100 calories. But what it does is you're kind of having the same sweet or salty texture, if savory is a thing. And you're munching. You're just bored and munching, okay? And when you're doing that, you kind of feel satisfied after it, and you feel, I don't want anything else. And if you do, then you got to rein yourself in. Okay, you are ultimately in control. There's nobody pulling your strings behind your head. You're in control of your own life and whatever else. But what's happening is you're ultimately being driven by your mood, and you got to think about this thing. Your mood is fleeting. It lasts for 15, 20 minutes, and you got to kind of think of that. So. A good analogy I like to use is that if you're sitting at night time and you think you want something to snack, you're probably not even hungry, you're just bored. You just want to munch on something while you're mindlessly watching your favorite TV program. But if somebody's to knock on your door and say, hey, Joe, you've won the lottery, you'd be like, wow. You probably wouldn't even feel hungry anymore. You've taken away, your focus has changed from the feeling of snacking to something that is wow, and it's distracting, and you got to worry about all this money, where you got to get it from, who are you going to tell, who are you going to give it to. All those things become issues, and you kind of wouldn't feel hungry anymore. Another thing would be, if you're sitting at night time, 8 o'clock at night, and a phone went, and your friend who you hadn't spoken to for ages starts chatting, you speak to them for an hour, you wouldn't eat anything, because your attention is taken to something else, okay? Could be a multitude of other things, all right? Your dog spews on the carpet at 8 o'clock at night, and you got to clean the dog, and you got to clean the carpet up, and then ultimately, it's 9 o'clock, and you're not even hungry anymore, probably because of the spew, but you're not hungry anymore because you've got something to focus on. So the whole thing is I need to take your attention. So that's one strategy. Find a snack or a treat that you like in its place. Or the other thing is, there's been studies done which is really interesting, Tetras, believe it or not. And Tetras, they say that if you absorb yourself into something where you're using your brain and you're thinking about concentrating on the task in hand, what happens is that your focus is taken away from the feeling of hunger or boredom, and you're focusing on this new thing. So you could play Tetras or a game on your phone, or you can read a book, or you can talk to a friend, you can do an exercise, whatever it is for you, but ultimately try and take your attention away. So this is my strategy for you. If you're sitting that down at night time and you feel like you want something to eat, tip number one is go and get a big large glass of water. Poof, get that down here. And set a timer on your phone for 15 minutes, just 15 minutes. Drink the water, take the 15 minutes to drink the water if you want, you don't have to down the thing. And then at the end of 15 minutes, just sit and think to yourself, do I still fancy what I fancied earlier on? If you do, have another glass of water, set the time for 15 minutes. All you're doing is you're disrupting this thing that's going on in your head, all right? And ultimately, you do that once or twice. Generally, what I feel is that I don't want anything anymore. And then you've obviously thought about it, you made a decision, and then by that point, you know, you may be going to bed and whatever else. That works really, really well, okay? So that's my challenge. If you're trying to snack and binge eat at night, number one strategy you can do is divert your attention to something else. And that's how I recommend to do it. Either have something that's crunchy like popcorn, which is really, really low in calories, or if you don't want to do that, a glass of water will do the trick. Set the timer for 15 minutes, do it twice, and see how you feel, okay? And that will generally help. And if you do that over time, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to, fix this new habit in place. So at night time, you no longer want to eat chocolate and sweet and junk and whatever else. And this thing replaces that thing. And over time, you kind of eliminate that binge boredom eating at night time. So if someone takes a distraction, drink some water, and just try and find a strategy that works for you. But you must try and do something. And you may take you 5 or 6 or 7 things to work out before you get the right thing. But you just got to keep trying these stuff until you find something that works. Okay, there's no quick fix for this stuff. This is habit that's been ingrained for donkeys for a long, long time, and it's quite hard to undo those things. So that's my challenge to you. Have a go. Let me know how you get on. And hopefully we can, stamp out this kind of stuff and stop this boredom eating, because ultimately that's going to destroy your all your good work that you've done through the week. All right. So that's it for me, guys. Have a really good day, and I will catch you soon. Take care. Bye bye.